Is Gen Z flooding back to church? Well, a new article came out from the Daily Wire, and it's titled just that, Is Gen Z going back to church? Now, all the analytics, all the numbers, all the studies that came out are saying the rise of nuns, non-religious people, people who don't have a religion, that this is the most godless generation ever. By the way, they said the same exact thing about millennials. Did you know that? They say the same thing about my generation. Then they said the same thing about Gen Xers. And I've discovered that over time, it seems like all these generations start to eventually grow more Christian. They end up coming back to faith over the long haul. But let's see if there's something unique happening with Gen Z. Could Generation Z, the generation currently in their teens and early 20s, be finding religion? This week, a TikTok from the fall resurfaced showing a young girl who looks to be in her early 20s sitting alone in a large empty church with her knees up as the sound of someone playing piano echoes through the
cavernous space.
Who wrote
Daily
this?
Wire getting fancy.
Daily Wire using some chat GPT. Chat GPT, we write this sentence, but make it sound more
conservative.
So when you hit so hard, I turned to religion. Reads the caption, which was originally posted back in October.
So the comments are saying, okay, is this happening to all of us because I've been thinking about it? Someone else says, nah, because I randomly started praying consistently. Those have 10,000 likes and 7,000 likes. And someone else says, bro, I got baptized.
Come on.
I started praying, I got baptized. Crazy.
2.1 million views.
Sheesh. Oh, they did not just hit us with the okey doke. We're going to have to freestyle the rest of this account, bro. And then basically, what they're probably saying.
Go back to the post. Go back to the post. Daily Wire, you little Daily Wire. Hey, man.
Amen.
I like Daily Wire.
The hustle.
Respect the hustle, bro. Respect the hustle. All right, let's go back here. All right, so this is next Gen Z. Scroll down. So let's see what the responses are to this. All right. Gen Z is typically considered the least religious generation. 34% of Gen Z is unaffiliated, aka don't identify with any religion or faith group. 29% of millennials and 25% of Gen Xers, 18%, and boomers, 9% of silent. There's a silent generation?
Silent generation is the oldies.
I know.
1907 type.
Interesting. Folks. All right.
More than a third of Gen Z identifies as religiously unaffiliated.
Mm-hmm. Do you notice something here? The older a generation is, the more religious they are. Who would have thunk it?
Wow.
When you grow up and you deprogram yourself from all the goofy indoctrination of the public school system and the universities, you slowly, based on this, right? Because the ages here show me that, oh, well, they're 34% of them are not religious. And then when they get a little older, they become, it's 29%. I know they're different generations. I'm just saying, if we're just going off the ages,
yep,
people become more and more religious as they get more older.
Yep.
Who would have thunk it? Why do you think that is, Zach?
Oh, man. It's like the age-old saying, but I think this applies to faith and belief in God, which can then translate, is if you're conservative before the age of 35, you don't have a heart. If you're conservative before the age of 35, you don't have a heart. If you're liberal over the age of 35, you don't have a brain. Yep. I think the same applies with faith. I think if you don't believe there is a God before the age of 25, not too crazy, right? You want to live for yourself. You haven't lived a lot of life. You haven't been faced with a lot of experiences.
Your brain hasn't fully developed.
Your brain hasn't fully developed. Over 25, over 35, as they start to get older, you get faced with the reality of these existential questions. You get faced with your own mortality. You get faced with intelligent design. You have a baby, and you're like, oh snap, that was a clump of cells when I was 22, but now I'm 27.
That's a baby,
and there's
dog.
a for real baby that looks like me.
That's a baby.
That thing looks like me.
The baby thing is by far the craziest thing because you guys don't understand. Yeah. But first of all, you're totally right. At 19, you think you know everything about the world.
Yeah.
And you don't really understand the ability to delay gratification. And like, if I make short-term sacrifices, I can make long-term come-ups. But when you have a baby and you see the miracle of life, that definitely solidifies that, like, this is not an accident. We are not just stardust.
That's when they first go to, like, I'm socially liberal, but I'm against the That's the first.
That's
like
the first step.
that's the first.
When you have kids, that's when you definitely go from, for sure. And so, I think let's read the rest of this thread because I think there's some good stuff in here. Gen Z also reports higher rates of depression, anxiety, and mental health issues. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that not having God, there's some sort of correlation?
Amazing.
Breaking news about violence, wars, the economy, climate anxiety, and being chronically online.
The funny part about this too is that like it's like, oh, we have the internet now. We're more scared and anxious than ever.
Right.
Bro, the silent generation had World War I and II.
World War I and II.
And we're like, oh, Instagram makes us more anxious than any other generation has ever lived. They literally thought the world was ending.
The data from Gen Z teen girls, particularly alarming. In the last decade, teenagers have become increasingly stressed by concerns about gun violence, climate change. Okay, so that's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So scroll down, let's see what else she says. Gen Z's dark humor about their mental health is both hilarious and horrifying. You know you're down, but when you start finding your way back to Catholicism, you know you're down when you start.
That's amazing. You know you're down when you start finding your way back to Catholicism. Final season so bad I started wearing my cross necklace again.
Oh my God.
Sometimes I'll put my St. Patrick medallion in my bag just because I frankly need all the help I can get.
Yo.
Me, OMG, I'm not religious anymore, but law school got me so bad this semester I got out a rosary instead of joyful mystery. I don't know what these Catholics are on. That sounds...
Shout out to the Catholics, yo. My hypothesis is that Gen Z, like all humans, are longing for purpose, belonging, connection. For some, this comes from faith traditions. For others, it comes from cult-ish communities, fandoms, astrology, wellness. Wow. Keep going. Related panderings, death of third spaces, rise of country clubs, organized religion, decentralized fandoms. So is she saying organized religion is bigger?
Becoming bigger than decentralized fandom.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, Taylor Swift can only be your God for so long. I hate to break it to you. Catholic proxies over Catholic aesthetics. Loneliness epidemic and chronically online return to in real life events. And what is the biggest new niche in streaming?
IRL streaming. People
in
living
real
life.
streaming. Yeah, people living life. People being outside.
Out. O-U-T.
Interesting, right? So I think you nailed it, Zach. I think the idea that as you get older, you just experience more life. You discover that you're probably not a clump of cells. You're probably not stardust. You're probably defining all your own meaning and all your own reality and all your own morality and all your own objective standards. You probably aren't God. You're not one with the universe. The universe is not in you. God is not you. You are not God, right? You start discovering these things. You discover you're going to die. And then you go, oh, there's probably a God in an afterlife. I should probably get this sorted out. I think that's what happens. I think that's what's happening right now in real time.
Yeah.
I think that's what's happening. And I don't have the data to support this. I do have the online expertise of saying that there's absolutely a shift in terms of the trends online. When I started doing this, I remember looking at like Mike Winger's page and he had 150,000 subscribers in like 2019 and thinking, that's insane. 150,000 subscribers. And now you have The Chosen with millions of subscribers. You have Bible Project with millions of subscribers. You have multiple Christian YouTubers from Off the Grid to Alan Parr with millions of subscribers. Obviously, the Jesus Revolution movie. There's so many different things that have happened within the last, let's say, 2-3 years.
Major influencers converting to different religions.
Multiple major influencers converting, right? You got everyone from Ryan Trahan to Gideon to Kat Von D. There's definitely a shift happening. And I hope that ultimately, my heart for this would ultimately that people would end up in local church communities, get discipled, get in their Bible, and that it wouldn't just be like an aesthetic thing or like I'm going through my religious phase. Like it would actually be a life transformation phase. And that would be my heart in that. So we see according to the Bible that prayer is extremely important in terms of us being transformed from the inside out when we get aligned with God's will. For the Christians watching this channel, I want you guys to implement these spiritual disciplines in your day-to-day life. And the only way I've been able to do this consistently is through writing down my prayers in a prayer journal that does a few things. One, it allows me to reflect and come to God humbly and ask Him to move on my behalf. And two, it allows me to document my prayers, which ultimately help me remember the very things that I was praying for and see the hand of God tangibly in my life when He answers them. So I would urge you, consider writing down your prayers. It could be in a blank notebook. It could even be on your phone. Or you could check out the one I personally designed and used for my own quiet time and spiritual discipline that I think will be a huge blessing. It's the exact structure and system that I've used for years to pray and be more consistent in my spiritual disciplines. You can pick yours up today by clicking the link in the pinned comment below. All right, I'll see you over there. Peace.